Welcome to our In Focus discussion tonight on apprenticeship programs in Utah. A number of businesses in Utah, specifically those in manufacturing and construction, face labor shortages when trying to hire skilled tradespeople. Apprenticeships can help address these issues and establish workers in lucrative, in-demand careers. Tonight, we'll meet people benefiting from this program and how the state is helping facilitate connections between businesses and apprentices. Kicking off our conversation tonight is Melissa Stark, Commissioner of Apprenticeship Programs at the Utah Department of Workforce Services. Melissa, thank you for spending your Thursday evening with us.
I'm happy to be here, Rosie. Thank you.
Melissa, tell us about your role at the Utah Department of Workforce Services. What are your responsibilities with the state's apprenticeship programs?
So as the Commissioner of Apprenticeship Programs for the state of Utah, I really work hard to promote apprenticeship programs to businesses, to individuals, to educators, to parents, to anyone that can benefit from an apprenticeship program.
Now, I have a multi-part question from you. We're going to hear from Meadowcraft Technologies later on in this segment about the benefits that they've experienced so far with their apprenticeship programs. But on a wider scale, how would you say apprenticeships benefit businesses, individuals, educators, and parents?
Well, businesses can benefit from having a workforce strategy that helps them to recruit individuals to their open positions, but it can also help them upskill their existing workforce by giving them additional skills through an apprenticeship program and helping them climb that career ladder. We've also seen them have increased productivity and safety because these individuals are learning and applying the things that they're learning on the job while they're learning them, and that ultimately affects an employer's bottom line. For an individual, it's an earn while you learn program, so they're able to go to school and receive in-classroom training, but again, apply those skills because they're working, and they're working in their field of study. This is the only avenue that I know that you're guaranteed to be educated in and work in your field of study, and this allows them to do that. They're also able to receive wage increases based off of benchmarks that they may have achieved because of being able to prove the things that they're learning on the job. And then that benefits the public because these individuals are in society and they're working members of society and paying taxes. But when you think about it from a parent's perspective, we all want our kids to go on to post-secondary education. This is a way to do that at very little or no cost.
It really is a great program, and I can't think of any better training than literally on-the-job training. Now, Melissa, what industries are involved with the state's apprenticeship programs right now, and what other sectors would you like to see them expand to?
That is a great question. You know, we often think about apprenticeships and associate them with construction. And yes, they have been in construction and been used for hundreds of years, but we also see them in automotive, in diesel, transportation, telecommunications, manufacturing, and some would be surprised to even hear that we have apprenticeships right now in healthcare and IT. And we're looking to expand those even more. We would like to see more healthcare and more IT, but really an apprenticeship is an opportunity that can be valuable in any industry.
And you have personally seen and experienced the benefits and impacts of apprenticeship programs. What can you share with us about that?
You know, it's really exciting that I'm able to work in different facets of this. I get to work with the employers and see how they benefit within their companies and see how it helps them to grow. But I've also heard them be what we call industry champions. They're out there talking about apprenticeships themselves to other businesses and other companies, and we might find that odd when we know that they're competing for talent, but yet they look at this as an opportunity for the industry as a whole and want to help that grow because they know that if their industry is growing, they're growing and they're benefiting from that. In terms of individuals, I see the excitement when at their graduations, their families are so proud of them. They know what they went through to be able to accomplish what they did and finish that apprenticeship program. But even personally, it's affected my own family. I have a son who headed down the four-year institution path when he graduated high school, and when COVID hit, he found out very quickly that he was not an online learner. And he wasn't quite sure how to feel about that. He was kind of feeling a little bit like a failure, if you will, because he had received some scholarships and now he might lose his scholarships because he wasn't able to continue with the classes the way that he was taking them. But he did find that he loved the career itself. He was in construction, and he remembered that his employer offered an apprenticeship program and that he could continue down that path through the apprenticeship program and still receive classroom training, but benefit by having the job that goes along with that. But the coolest thing about this is the program that he's in also will give him credit towards his degree once he finishes his apprenticeship program. And he, again, is receiving those wage increases. So this actually worked out better for him, and he feels like he's going to be a better project manager in the future because of this experience.
We just did an In Focus segment about Utah's worker shortage back in July. How do you hope the state's apprenticeship programs will help address that issue, and where would you like to see this program in 5 to 10 years?
You know, I really think that this is a valuable solution that's often overlooked, and so I think this is a way that we can attract a pipeline of workers, maybe start earlier on with high school students and get them into some of those entry-level positions. But I think it's also a great opportunity to help those individuals that might have lost their jobs at the very beginning of the pandemic. Sometimes they're also the ones that are the last back into the workforce because they may need to change and upgrade their skills, and this is the perfect opportunity for that. In 5 to 10 years, I would love to see a full systemic approach to apprenticeships and have some really early on experiences in maybe 6th to 8th grade with career exploration, and have this progressive path of career exploration again with project-based learning, with workplace experiences including job shadows and industry tours and an internship. And then that way, by the time they're a senior, they might have a really good idea of where they want to go and be able to enter an apprenticeship earlier on.
We have to wrap it real quick. I know the Utah Department of Workforce Services just launched the Apprenticeship Utah website. Tell us real quick what the URL is.
Apprenticeship.utah.gov.
Perfect. You've been hearing from Melissa Starr, Commissioner of the Apprenticeship Programs at the Utah Department of Workforce Services. Melissa, thank you for your insight tonight. We enjoyed our conversation with you. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us for our second In Focus discussion tonight on apprenticeship programs in Utah. Up next in our conversation tonight, live via Zoom, is Dylan Murray, a machinist apprentice for Metalcraft. And Dylan, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show. Let's start with how your journey began in machining. What sparked your interest in this industry, and how did programs at your high school help you get started in this career?
When I was in high school, I took a program through Southwest Technical College, and I got to run some conventional mills at their building. And the teacher told me I was pretty good at it and that I should pursue that for my career. And so I took a couple classes after that, and I got to join the Utah Aerospace Pathways class, which allowed me to do an externship through Metalcraft. And we got to tour their milling area. And I realized that that's really what I wanted to do for my career, and they were offering the apprenticeship, so I talked to them and I tried to join that and joined it. So
now you are the first machinist apprentice at Meadowcraft Technologies, who we'll talk to in the next segment, but we'd like to know a little bit more about that. How long is your apprenticeship? Do you get paid? And how does it help you get to where you need to be in your career?
It is a 4-year-long program. I work at Metalcraft full-time, and then after that I will go to school. I do 150 hours at Southwest Technical College a year, and it's I just do their courses that they have for me there, and then I do the year after that once I get to the next year. And I think it will help a lot with my career because it's going to push me forward and I'll get to learn a lot more.
Now, you also receive classroom instruction at Southwest Technical College as part of the apprenticeship. What can you tell us about the instruction portion of the program?
So for the first course I took, it was safety. So they went over basic safety for shops, the classroom, and personal protective equipment. And then the next course was precision measurement. So I learned how to use dial calipers, micrometers, and I just checked different parts and got their measurements, and then I checked them off with my teacher. And then the third course was manual machining. So I actually made a paperclip holder on a mill, and then I made a screw and then a die on a lathe. And then for my final project, I made a hammer on the lathe and the mill combined together.
Now, what's next for you? What happens once you're done with the apprenticeship and instruction requirements of the program?
I would like to stay at Metalcraft and keep working and further my career as a machinist and get as best as I can at this career. And yeah, just get better.
Dylan, do you love what you do as far as what you've learned so far and what you've experienced?
Yeah, it's been a great experience. I like it a lot, and I've learned a lot of life lessons, and I think it's great.
Do you think that this makes you stand out from other people who may be graduating from high school now and never having an apprenticeship and wanting to pursue the same career that you do?
I would say go for it because you do not have to pay for school. You don't have to go into debt, and you get paid to learn your career, and you get a lot of experience from school and on the job, so you can't really beat it.
And do you think that someone who is in an apprenticeship program puts them at a higher advantage than other people who maybe won't be part of an apprenticeship program?
Yeah, I think so, because you get the shop experience plus school, so that's even more training, and then you get the certificates at the end that show that you have done both of those. So I think it pushes you a little bit further than everybody else.
Awesome. Dylan, we have time for final words. Anything else that you would like to say or speak to maybe other aspiring students who want to pursue a career once they graduate?
I just say go for it. I mean, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do until I tried this, and then I realized I really love this. So you just got to try it out and see if you like it.
You've been hearing from Dylan Murray, a machinist apprentice for Meadowcraft. And Dylan, thank you so much for sharing your experience tonight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back. Welcome to our third and final In Focus discussion tonight on apprenticeship programs in Utah. Up next in our conversation is Jason Morrow, apprentice mentor and journeyman machinist for Meadowcraft. Jason, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Jason, we just heard from your apprentice in the last segment. Now we'd like to learn more about you. Could you tell us about yourself, what sparked your interest in becoming a journeyman machinist, and how long have you been doing it?
So I've been working here for 17 years. I really just, when we first started doing this, we had manual mills, pretty much everything. We had one CNC mill. We started getting more, and it just seemed like something to learn. We didn't have really anybody to help us learn how to do stuff. It was just kind of like, here you go, and let's do it. And having this program back then in the 90s would have been fantastic for, you know, learning, picking up stuff where you could just be that much further along.
Now, 17 years in the business is a long time. What do you love the most about your career, and what keeps you going time after time?
I've always enjoyed teaching people my whole life, helping people with any problems they have, and this is something I'm really good at, so it's really helped with allowing me to give my knowledge to other people and make some pretty cool stuff along the way. And just seeing people grow in their own abilities.
Now, the partnership between your business and the Utah Department of Workforce Services is fairly new. What prompted Meadowcraft to start its apprenticeship program back in June, and the benefits that you saw coming from this?
Well, this type of business, you got a lot of people coming and going. People don't know what, really what you do. Sounds interesting at first. Maybe they don't quite like it that well, or really it doesn't pique their interests. When your retention of employees just really isn't that great, it seems like. This way, we thought we could get in here and get people that are more interested in it. And when you got a 4-year program like they're doing at the Southwest Technical College with us, that we could at least have them for that long. And I think at that point, that amount of time, I can get them interested in what they do and keep them here.
You serve as a mentor to Dylan, who we just heard from. What are some of your responsibilities in that role, and what progress have you noticed from Dylan so far?
I do most of his training, anything from how to measure the technical parts we make, how to set up the machinery we use. Like I said, we mainly use CNC stuff, a little different than his school, but it really helps him be able to apply his schooling to us and us to his schooling. We had, when people come in, they're not really have a clue what they're getting into or doing. We had everybody comes in, they got to learn how to set up the machinery. One example he had is we have to set our zeros somehow. We have a dial indicator. We come in and find the center of a hole. And when they first start doing it, it could take them anywhere from a half hour, 45 minutes, or even longer. And that's pretty average on it because they've never done any of that. And they get pretty frustrated. And so he's been doing it for a couple months now. And we don't do that every time. So he might have done it 3 or 4 times. But just this week, he came to me and after about 3-4 minutes, and he's like, I think I did it. And he was all just ecstatic. And I went over and checked it. And he did a fabulous job on it. And just that feeling of accomplishment that I can see in his eyes, that's why I do it.
It's moments like that that make it all worth it. How would you say apprenticeships help businesses in industries like manufacturing spark interest among more job candidates and improve employee retention?
Well, like I said earlier, that just knowing that they're putting themselves in the position to have to do it for a certain amount of time with the school, it is covered as long as they do it and as long as they're working with us. That, I mean, I can imagine having that back in the day, not to have your loans or that money that you're worried about where it's going to come from, to be able to earn money in what you're going to do. I just can't imagine that would be not something that somebody would want to use or a company would want to use to try to help recruit people. And you at least know that they would want to be there for a while too, versus, like I said, just coming and going just to get a check, I guess.
What's next for Meadowcraft's apprenticeship program? Do you anticipate on taking more apprentices in the future?
Yes, ma'am. We are looking to do 2 or 3 more just in our machining area. Also, we want to move into doing more sheet metal fabrication apprenticeships in the near future, because we do more than just machining here. But yeah, I think it would do good for us to bring in more.
Why do you think other businesses should start thinking about or considering an apprenticeship program? How can it benefit them and contribute to their overall success with their employees?
One of the nice things is, instead of just say me or a couple of us doing the training specifically to what exactly we're doing here, we get help from the schools, whoever they're using to do it, to do similar stuff, or maybe in depth in a little bit more area to make them understand exactly why we're doing what we do. Because we're here to produce parts. Maybe sometimes they don't get to see the full ins and outs of what comes up to that. So that does help us with that type of stuff. So I think that would also benefit in other areas. The same thing, where maybe you're just used to doing the same thing in and out because that's what you do. More hands-on stuff at school, but also to have the hands-on stuff at work at the same time you're doing it. It just makes sense.
Jason, we have to wrap it real quick. Our crew is curious if you can name off some of the products or the items that you make over at Metalcraft, and maybe what one of your favorite projects has been.
We do mainly aerospace here. I can't say a whole lot of what we do. Why we build frames for stuff. We build the machines, mostly billet aluminum parts. We do it for a lot of different commercial, government programs, just pretty much anything in aerospace.
All right, you've been hearing from Jason Morrow, Apprentice Mentor and Journeyman Machinist for Metalcraft. And Jason, thank you so much for being a part of this discussion tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.